we may finally be getting answers as to who is the real Liv Morgan. So I wanted to really make this video to dive in a lot deeper into everything that's happened since Liv Morgan's return to the WWE and talk about what we think could happen next. There's a few really good fan theories at the end. We know this week on Raw, obviously she appeared once again backstage doing these series of promo vignette things, and they're really good because they are exposing us to the real Liv Morgan. Of course, she's talking very much from the heart, talking about how, you know, she doesn't know if she's going to hit the sun or fall down to earth. She has no idea what's next for her or what's happening in her life. She says that she's alive. She says that she's here to live her best life. And of course, it's very reminiscent of the promos that Liv returned with originally. Do you remember the old bathroom series that we had just before her big return, where it built up every single week that Liv was coming back and Liv was doing this and Liv was going to do that? And really, a lot of fans paid a lot of attention to this, and according to sources, WWE did in fact bring Liv Morgan back sooner than they planned to, of course, when she crashed the wedding of Lana and Lashley. Now, some people will say that this was pathetic and that WWE got this really wrong, but they didn't. Social media proves otherwise. That return segment got 4.6 million views on YouTube. It was the exact right thing for WWE to do. I think the problem, however, is that it kind of did leave Liv a little bit exposed, working with Lana, who we all know is not the best in-ring competitor. And WWE seemed to change that up quite quickly, getting Liv out of the feud with Lana and putting her into one with Riott. Of course, former best friend of the Riott Squad. This was like closure to Liv Morgan. It actually worked really well to get Liv Morgan over with fans. Ruby's a very over competitor. We all believe Riott can wrestle very well. So the fact that Liv kept defeating Ruby, it really did help it out. Of course, WWE did actually involve Sarah Logan as well in this storyline, which I think was the exact right thing to do. Of course, she was the special guest referee for one of the matches between Ruby and Liv. It made her stance very clear. It's a shame that WWE released Sarah when they did, because she is an intricate part of this story, but at least we actually got the payoff of the Riott Squad implosion. Now, of course, that meant that Liv then went on to lose to Asuka, which kind of makes sense because now Asuka's actually on the path of, you know, she is the Raw Women's Champion. She is the top person in that whole division on Raw. So it makes perfect sense that she lost to Asuka when she did. Of course, she could beat her in the future. And of course, the other person being Charlotte Flair. We've spoken about the history of Charlotte and Liv to death on the channel. But I genuinely believe that when the real Liv emerges, when Liv's confidence and her ability and everything else that she's trying to find rises, that's when she'll be able to defeat the Queen. Well, dethrone the Queen. And it's good because all those different segments actually play a part of the story. Liv is telling us that she doesn't really know who she is, and that's exactly what the story is saying. The whole story with Lana was Liv trying to discover who she really is sexually. Of course, we saw that play out with them saying they was together. Of course, Ruby Riott was her having her friends turn on her and probably seeing who she can trust, who she can't trust, and seeing that pain. Of course, the feud with Charlotte Flair, it's simple. Charlotte's the queen. She is the GOAT. And if you can defeat the Queen, you know you finally made it. Now, we know Liv sent out a tweet very recently saying that just because she wasn't on TV much in 2019, it doesn't mean that she wasn't on camera. I can't wait for you all to see this project. The good, the bad, and the real. Now, straight away, you got to think this is going to be something that exposes the real Liv Morgan. Whatever form or whatever incarnation that may be for Liv, that is coming. We don't know when. We don't know how. We don't know what WWE or Liv have planned. But we know from that tweet it is coming. Now, it could be Total Divas. We theorized this before. Again, we said it could be a return to those bathroom promos, which is kind of now what we're getting with this whole backstage thing with Liv sort of talking more about herself. That kind of makes a bit of sense. Another interesting tweet a couple of days ago was Liv welcoming Gemini season. Of course, Liv is a Gemini. She was born in June. So obviously it makes sense now that we know that Liv's a very spiritual person. We know she has the crystals. We know she follows a lot of things spiritual and the rituals around them. So obviously this for her is her time. Is there something coming? Is Liv Morgan going to reveal or show something during this time? And she's teasing that more because she knows during this time something big is going to happen. Maybe this is Liv's time. Well, it can't be, right? Because we know that at Backlash, it's Asuka versus Nia Jax for the Raw Women's Championship. That was actually confirmed last night on Raw when Nia won a triple threat match, beating Natalya and Charlotte Flair. And I think the match will be fine. I think it's the feud WWE have probably wanted to do for a while. I think Asuka and Nia are sort of yin and yang to each other, so it kind of does make sense. But maybe there's something more we missed here, because back in April, Liv told us to keep watching. She'd already had her match with Asuka. Liv fans around the world were happy. Social media was ablaze. Liv had lost, but we were still happy. And then Liv's out, keep watching, and the world was wondering, what will she do now? Well, that tweet was actually to hype up the return of Nia Jax. Why would Liv want to hype up Nia Jax? Now, yes, of course, they are personal, real-life friends. So it could just be that. But she hasn't done it for Ruby. She hasn't done it for anyone else. So why Nia? Could it be that Liv and Nia could form a team? Could Liv interfere at Backlash and help Nia Jax? Could Nia Jax give Liv the Raw Women's Championship? Remember, right now, Liv does not know who she is. She may be a good Liv Morgan, or she may be a bad Liv Morgan. She could be heel, she could be face. Now, of course, Liv also tweeted out saying that the world is yours. This literally was hours ago. And I think this is quite prominent to this story because I believe from these promos that we've seen from Liv, Liv is now ready to take every and all opportunities given to her. I think Liv, she said it, her WWE debut, getting the first bit of gear with her name on, was the making of her. So now, if someone like Nia can infiltrate her mind and say, look, you do this with me, this is how successful you're going to be, that is a distinct possibility. Now, of course, there is a lot of fan favour for Liv going to SmackDown. A few people are saying that because the lights in the background are blue and purple, maybe that could be a tease that she's going to go to the blue brand. I mean, it's definitely possible. We've got this whole new superstar thing and there's people being traded everywhere. So I wouldn't rule anything out with WWE right now. But I do think if they was going to trade someone, it's kind of done on convenience for them, not part of the story. And at the moment, Liv's promos are playing out on Raw. If she had went away for a few weeks and then the promo started on SmackDown, 100%. But the fact they're playing on Raw makes me think she's staying on Raw. And I know some of you will be really agitated by that. I personally think she'd do a lot better on SmackDown because I think the women's division needs someone to be on SmackDown. It's like a rising star. And I think that's perfect role for Liv. But the other big fan theory is that she could be with the Messiah, Seth Rollins. Now, I hadn't given this much thought until a few people DM'd me about it last night. But think about it. Seth's whole gimmick is taking in people who are lost and confused and without anything else and basically making them follow him. That's exactly what Liv Morgan currently is. Liv Morgan is lost. Liv Morgan doesn't know who she is and she's trying to find those answers. What if the Monday Night Messiah is able to provide Liv Morgan those answers as long as she follows him? I think that would be a really cool way to sort of change Liv and at the same time sort of continue this Seth Rollins recruiting people into this like disciples gimmick that he's currently got going on, which I'm a huge fan of. I think it's a real like refreshing change on Raw. And I think Austin Theory and Buddy Murphy won't be damaged by this at all. Liv's in a completely different division. And if it did elevate Liv, why the hell not? As I said earlier, we don't know if Liv's going to be a babyface, and we got no idea if she's going to be a heel. So I think it's possible, and I think the few people that messaged me about it, well done to you, because I hadn't thought of it. I genuinely think, though, what WWE are doing with the slow burn build, it's really good. It's a great way to kind of say, hey, look, this is Liv Morgan. Right now, she doesn't know who she is. It's okay that she doesn't know who she is. And for a lot of fans, that will put her in a role model kind of perspective. Someone like that's 10 years old, that rarely watches wrestling, may tune in and relate to something Liv Morgan's going through. And not even 10, 20 or 30. And become a fan of Liv. And that's how you elevate someone, is you make them connect with the audience. And that's exactly what, at the moment, Liv Morgan is doing. Now, I'm always interested to find out what's next for Liv Morgan, but if you've got your thoughts, let me know them in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like the video if you are new to the channel. Hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to turn on post notifications. I will, as always, see you next time. Peace!